There's a kind of pain that doesn't stay at work. It doesn't clock out. It doesn't wait for morning. It follows you home. After the accusation, we had to move. Just boxes and a much, much smaller space. The house felt different. Quieter, heavier, not because we weren't grateful, but because everything familiar was gone. My kids were teenagers. They noticed everything. The tension, the stress, the way our life suddenly felt unfamiliar. They were old enough to understand something was wrong, but too young to understand why. The apartment was really, really small, like really, really small. And we weren't allowed to leave because of COVID. My two boys were sharing a room, two teenage boys, both over 200 pounds, one 6'1", one 6'3". We had come from so much space. We lived in Newport. We had plenty of room to breathe, doors to close, and suddenly there was nowhere to go. We had moved to a new city during COVID, so we knew nobody, and everything they knew was gone. There's a moment that still lives in my body. Someone close to my kids dropped them off at our new apartment and said, "Be safe, your mom moved you to the ghetto." They walked in after hearing that, and something in me broke. The truth is, the apartment was only 1 mile from the beach. It just wasn't Newport Beach. It wasn't the 6,000 square foot house on the sand. It wasn't the life they were used to. Some people said my kids were entitled, but I saw it differently. They only knew what they knew. They were losing everything at really hard ages. And their dad, he didn't lose a thing. He's a firefighter. So from their perspective, all they saw was mom losing it all. They were angry. They yelled at me. And honestly, I let them. Because I knew they were scared. All three of them were at each other's throats. And honestly, I didn't make it any better. I was annoyed. I was overstimulated. I had no space, and neither did they. One day, it just completely exploded. My two boys got into it, and I did what moms do. I stepped in. I tried to break it up, and I ended up breaking my pinky finger. I remember driving myself to the hospital, one hand on the wheel, the other throbbing, and thinking, I've literally lost complete control, not just of the situation, but of myself. And I remember thinking, if I can control myself, how am I supposed to control 3 teenage kids with no sports, no friends, no release, and a life that disappeared completely overnight? My car was repossessed, and I was so embarrassed that I told people it was stolen, including my kids, because that car was the last thing that made me feel normal. I took out a loan on my son's car to pay rent. Then I couldn't pay the loan, and his car was then repossessed. He was furious. He was 17, no senior year, no graduation, and then no car. It was some of his identity, just like me. I did understand how he felt, but he didn't know that at the time. He had no way to get to work. He rode his bike, and I felt awful. Because no mother ever wants to take from her child just to keep a roof over their heads. I remember lying awake at night thinking, I'm supposed to protect them. I'm supposed to have answers. Why don't I feel strong? There was a moment that still sits with me. The day I shut off all of their phones. I stared at the screen, waiting, hoping I wouldn't have to press confirm. And then I did. That's when the shame really set in. Not because of the phones, but because of what it represented. That I could no longer give my kids what I used to. The garage studio, it wasn't just a place to work. It was honestly my last thread of hope. After I finished teaching, I would close the laptop and just sit there. Completely empty. I'd scroll and watch other women online, and they made it look effortless. And I couldn't even figure out where to start. That's when my confidence really started slipping. Because it wasn't just about money anymore. It was about identity. There was a morning I'll never forget. The house was quiet, sunlight coming through the window, and I realized it was about 11 in the morning. And I had a White Claw in my hand. And I thought, what am I doing? It wasn't about the drink. It was about numbing. About trying not to feel the weight of another day. That's when I stopped recognizing myself. That's when I stopped trusting myself. I showed up, but I was not present. For a long time, people told me I created this. That my kids' reactions were my fault. And it completely crushed me. But now, I see it differently. I did give them that life once. And that means I'm capable of creating it. I showed them what hard work can build. And later, now, I showed them what resilience looks like when it all falls apart. Both lessons matter. I sure wish I could tell you that was the lowest point, but it wasn't. What I've shared with you so far, that was only the beginning. For 2 more years, things kept getting worse. The weight didn't lift. The pressure didn't stop. And the strength you hear in my voice now didn't exist yet. What came next, I could have never expected. If you're listening to this and you're still in it, please hear me. The fact that you're surviving doesn't mean this is where your story ends. It's crazy the amount of stuff that happened. And that's why I want to share this story with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. If you have friends, family, anyone who you think might need to hear this message, I'm literally doing my podcast because I feel like it's my duty to share this information. Because life happened. And it happened hard. I'll see you guys next week. You will never guess what happened next.